The White House has been pushing back, trying to discredit Cohen by saying that he's a convicted felon and proven liar.
Do you think he'll win another term as president?
So Donald Trump will do anything and everything within which to win. And I believe that includes manipulating the ballots. I believe that he would even go so far as to start a war.
I was the only president in nearly 4 decades who did not get America into any new conflicts. Instead, I brought our troops and our wonderful children back home. I brought them back home where they belong. Great nations do not fight endless wars.
My biggest fear is that there will not be a peaceful transition of power in 2020.
This is a transfer of power. It's a day for the country. It is all those things. It's also just a moving day. We just saw 12 bags come out with aides carrying them.
Yes.
Moving days are always emotional.
Right. Transitions in life are difficult. But this is a transition. We are at the transom of one to the other.
Given my experience working for Mr. Trump, I fear that if he loses the election in 2020, that there will never be a peaceful transition of power.
I wish the new administration great luck and great success. So, have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're saying this is part of a plan. If he doesn't get what he wants out of the election results, he wants to push Barr to what?
To start indicting people, specifically, I guess, people working at the ballots. There will never be a peaceful transition of power by Trump.
President Trump's final remarks as he's leaving the White House.
Now we have a story. There's your breaking news. I told you he's a dictator. We've been saying he will not give up power. Under no circumstances will he give up power. He intends to serve at least 2 more terms. You know, you can't joke, because if you joke, they take it away. But they always cut it before the laugh. They cut it.
Moment. First time in 5 years that you and Donald Trump are in the same room together after being in the same room together every single day for almost your entire career, for so many years. You were sentenced to 3 years behind bars for what you would call dirty deeds that you committed on behalf of him.
That was bullshit.
You were sentenced to 3 years behind bars for what you would call dirty deeds that you committed on behalf of him.
Michael Cohen, what he's doing is he was convicted on things totally unrelated to the Trump organization, having to do with mortgages and having to do with cheating the IRS, perhaps, a lot of different things.
Dirty deeds that you committed on behalf of him.
Says who?
He was convicted of various things unrelated to us.
His racist rants, which we know are just every day, including the fact that he couldn't even mention George Floyd's name.
All Americans were rightly sickened and revolted by the brutal death of George Floyd.
The fact that he couldn't even mention George Floyd's name.
George Floyd, a terrible event, terrible, terrible thing that happened. The death of George Floyd on the streets of Minneapolis was a grave tragedy.
The fact that he couldn't even mention George Floyd's name at any point in time.
And they're using George Floyd, and they're using a lot of other people to try and do some bad things.
Donald Trump is a narcissistic sociopath. He doesn't care about anyone's feelings. It's odd, isn't it, that you have a billionaire representing the average American, but as you said, he knows people, he loves people, he said it himself, he's able to relate to the plumber, to the electrician, to the laborer, because that's what his father Fred taught him, and he learned value. Donald Trump is a racist, plain and simple.
I've lost count as to how many times the disgusting, liberal, mainstream media have attempted to label Mr. Donald Trump a racist, a xenophobe, and a bigot.
I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist.
Not only is Donald Trump not a racist, he believes that all people are part of one race, the human race. So let's not forget, Alina Habba made a terrible error, or somebody, the Trump's attorney, by failing to check off a certain box that had the case as a jury trial. It is now a bench trial. So Judge Engoron will be the sole decider on what the damages are.
Michael Cohen, I'm not sure you've seen a courtroom before. I'm pretty sure you haven't, other than when I beat you a few months ago. But let's just remember something. Those of us that do actually litigate understand that under 6312, which is what this case is, you don't have a right, an absolute right to a jury. And that doesn't mean that I could check a box, Michael.
The Trump's attorney, by failing to check off a certain box.
So next time you should do a little research before you bash somebody. I'm not surprised. But
Alina Habba made a terrible error by failing to check off a certain box that had the case as a jury trial.
Why are you being tried by the judge? Why not take it to a jury? But apparently, based on New York law, make sure I got this right, a consumer protection statute that denies the right to a jury, correct? That's why it's before a judge? Is that correct?
By failing to check off a certain box.
But you're right. We don't have the option. It's equitable relief. And another reason we didn't have the option, this liability was predetermined through a motion before the trial. He found us summarily liable.
Are you just bitter and disloyal?
I don't think so.
Look, he tried to sue President Trump. We beat him. That was not very well publicized because the left media doesn't want you to know. But this is who this guy is. So I really hope, you know, he is careful with his words. He should be. He should also educate himself. But this is a man who doesn't have a license in the Southern District of New York, as we all know, called him a fraud, and he went to jail.
I think that everything that I have said so far has been proven to be accurate.
I still maintain, I don't even think that Donald's going to get the nomination. Now, I know everybody says, no, you know, he has such a strong hold over like 28% of the Republican Party. What we're seeing right now is Donald Trump's popularity, believe it or not, it's decreasing on a steady basis. And as more of these indictments, of more of these charges continue to be mounted against him.
We now have Donald Trump leading with an outright majority in Iowa, 51%. Ron DeSantis, a very distant second at 19. Nikki Haley, 16. Ramaswamy and Christie at 4.
I don't believe that Donald is going to be the nominee. And I think that you're going to see somebody new come out of the woodwork. And I think that's who you're going to see a lot of support.
We last polled Iowa in October, also with the Des Moines Register. Since then, look at this, Donald Trump's lead. He has added 8 points to his total.
What we're seeing right now is Donald Trump's popularity, believe it or not, it's decreasing on a steady basis.
And it's Trump who's made the big gains. Trump who's moved to 51% in this Iowa poll. Remember, Donald Trump finished third with this group in 2016 when he ran in Iowa and lost.
What's your post-mortem on Iowa? What do you think happened there?
You know, I came in second place, a strong second place.
Remember, Donald Trump finished third with this group in 2016 when he...
And I went there, you know, I started in 10th place and went there, I came in, I ended up in second place.
This is also, here comes another big lie by Donald, right? He's pro-police. He's pro-police. How do you respond to something like this? How do you respond to something like this? Everything that I have said so far has been proven to be accurate. When I call him a racist, we all know
that my credibility is a lot more in demand than Trump's petty, pathetic temper tantrums, right, masquerading as strength.
Michael Cohen, you told me day one he's going to win.
I did.
Day one. You never had a doubt.
Because I know Mr. Trump. I've stood by him shoulder to shoulder for the past decade. I've seen him in action. I know when Donald Trump wants something, there's nothing that's going to stop him from achieving his goal.
Let's talk about the Trump organization, because you know that organization well. But this is like a mom and pop organization, right? It's basically Trump, the kids, and Alan Weisselberg. Do I have that wrong?
Well, yeah, it's bigger than that, but you're right. It's a glorified mom and pop company. At one point in time, Trump, which is, again, part of his ongoing continuous lies, made allegations that he employed 10,000 people. Well, that's not true.
Hillary Clinton has never created a single job in her life. This is a guy with tens of thousands of jobs.
That he employed 10,000 people. Well, that's not true.
This is a guy with tens of thousands of jobs.
What a disgrace. The Trump Organization is an amazing American story about business owned by a family, and now they've used his politics to go against his children.
You're right, Joy. It is a mom and pop organization.
Trump Tower. Many call it his greatest triumph. Trump calls it home. A 30,000 square foot penthouse, 3 levels of over-the-top decor, dripping in gold, a fountain in the living room.
You're right, Joy. It is a mom and pop organization.
Soon, those signature buildings began popping up all over the Big Apple, and later, across the country. Now there's even one in Istanbul, all brandishing his name, Trump.
This is a guy who has changed the skyline of New York. He's changed the skyline of Chicago, of Las Vegas. This is a guy who's international. He knows how to build things. He knows how to fix things. He knows how to make them better.
If he's going to be a dictator on day one, rest assured, I know him better than almost anybody. He won't be a dictator on day two. He will be a king. He will make himself into the Führer, and he will make everybody raise their hand and salute him, you know, Heil Hitler.
Donald Trump will become the 45th president. He's going to do everything that he promised during the campaign that he would do for the American people by keeping jobs in America, putting America first, and making America great again.
He is an autocratic wannabe with autocratic tendencies. You know, he's already told people he's going to shut down this station. He wants to jail your president's CEO. He wants to execute Joint Chief of Staff Mark Milley. He wants to, you know, execute Mike Pence. I mean, he's got a hit list of people. He wants to throw everyone into Gitmo.
I'm obviously very loyal and very dedicated to Mr. Trump. I think he's going to be not just a good president. I think he's going to be a great president.
Seriously, he wants to strip the power of the judiciary and the legislature and confer all power to the executive branch. Again, that means to him, he wants the military to sign a loyalty oath to him.
He's going to be the president that ends up working with everybody, whether Republican or Democrat.
The only person that asks for loyalty, especially in a loyalty oath, is a dictator, a supreme leader, a monarch, a Führer.
I think he's a wonderful man. I think he's going to be an amazing president. The family is just, you know, fantastic. They're behind him 100%.
Do whatever it's necessary for him to take power. He will do whatever is necessary to get back into office, plain and simple.
Because every day, Mr. Trump quietly and without seeking recognition does something to help others. A trait his father passed down on him, and he has passed down onto his children.
If you look at the rallies, you'll see that there's very little diversity there. And there's always the same 2 or 3 black men and women that are there, and that's because they're paid actors. They're paid to be there.
He has been just increasing his support more and more. Every poll shows that he is getting more support among black and Latino voters.
So you believe Donald Trump has a problem with black people?
I think Donald Trump has a problem with all races.
Multiple polls in recent weeks have shown Trump performing historically well among black and Hispanic voters in head-to-head matchups with Biden, helping put him neck and neck with Biden in a way he rarely was during their 2020 matchup.
MAGA is Make America Great Again. By the way, they love African American people. They love black people. MAGA loves black people.
Across 5 high-quality polls that have broken out non-white voters in the past month, Trump is averaging I can't even believe this, 20% of black voters and 42% of Hispanic voters. So that's not based on one poll. That's based on an average of 5 separate polls.
I think that everything that I have said so far has been proven to be accurate when I call him a racist,